Hey guys, Todd from JUno Bait here today with Brett, Executive Director from the Angler Action Program. He just randomly came by the shop. Well, it wasn't random. I knew he was coming by at some point. We talked about a different article that he's writing, and I stole him to get him to talk here for a few minutes about the Angler Action Program. Great program. Angler Action used to be, I'm going to mix it up, but it used to be the Snook and Game Fish Foundation, originally Snook Foundation, that transitioned a couple names. So Brett's been around for a long time. He actually did a Snook seminar with us a few years back at our old shop, which was fantastic. Got a lot of good information. I learned a lot of things on the biological side that I didn't know, which were beneficial. But the big thing now that the Angler Action Program is doing is the Angler Action App. And you want to talk a little bit about that today?
Sure, yeah. The app's we've had it since around 2010 after that cold snap down here in Florida. And we've been using it to capture data, initially to help the state understand angler interactions with the snook population, because we just didn't know what was going on with the population there, and we wanted to make sure that we were taking care of the fish. But as we started collecting that data in a standardized way that the state helped us prepare, we realized that it could be beneficial in many other ways, including catch rates and size structure of the fish of many species that recreational fishermen let go. And those fish are the ones that we've really missed out on in traditional stock assessments. The ones where you see people at the dockside and they want to ask you some questions, or the phone calls or the snail mail surveys that come out. They don't really address the fish that we let go, and come to find out 80% of the fish we catch, when you look across all species, are fish that we let go. So it's an opportunity for us to have a lot more say in those stock assessments and show the power and the value of recreational fishermen and the value of those fish that we let go. That's a big step for us.
Right, and we didn't actually plan. We should have pulled the phone out. We could have showed them. It's available in the App Store, Apple and Android, correct?
Correct, yep.
And it is, search for Angler Action that pops up, right?
You search IAngler.
IAngler, that's right.
And we have a family now of apps that some run tournaments and some are more specified to different regions. It's just an orange icon of a snook outline. If you search iAngler, that's the one. And it's free and it's password protected. So your information, it's not owned by the state or by the federal government, so it's not subjected to laws where people can sue to get your secret spots. Only you see it. You can share your information on social media with a press of a button, but it will only share your location if you direct it to do so.
And it's a terrific, I've been using it for years. I was just joking, I haven't inputted much because it don't seem like I catch any fish these days, but it's a terrific personal logbook for anglers. You can, by species, you can store your photos, location. I mean, it's kind of equate it in like a business sense to on this crazy search for an inventory system that like a few people appreciate this, but the data is as good as what goes in.
Correct.
And
that's right.
At a personal level, I mean, as far as the stock assessments, that's kind of a different story. But if you don't take the time to put the information in for yourself, it's not going to do a whole lot. But if you take the time, and it's quick to do once you start using the app.
Right.
And you can really go back. You were telling me a cool story about a gentleman. He has how many trips logged?
He's got almost 2,000 individual trips logged now. So
and obviously he didn't catch fish all those times. It's important to also not, put those trips in where you blank or you get skunked, or those trips you don't really want to talk about, but they do provide information for you. Oh well, maybe I don't need to fish that tide or go there on that moon, and those different kinds of things.
Right. Yeah, that's really where it's benefited me. Is you can enter all that weather information, and then you can sort through your own data really easy within the app. You can download it to an Excel and really sort it out, in those ways. But you can stay right on the website angleraction.org. that uses the same username and password as the app, and all that information synchronizes back and forth. And you're right, if you only put in your best fishing days, you don't learn really how to plan your trips based around wind direction or tide or lunar phases and that sort of thing. But if you put all in, the best part is the no catch days, which I have plenty of those too.
Right. Yeah.
They're very easy to enter.
Yeah. Exactly.
It takes about literally 20 seconds to enter a trip if you're doing it on the spot, if you don't catch a fish.
Yeah.
And literally, it takes you 20 seconds per fish if you're entering per time. Yeah. One of the newer features we put in was a duplicate button. So if you get into a school of trout or mackerel or jacks where you're catching 10 that are the exact same size, You can catch them all, let them go, and then when the
Right.
action slows, just duplicate it to the number of catches. Enter a photo or two, and
Yeah.
you're good to go.
And we were just talking, the state now is actually requesting this data, and it's helping give us as recreational anglers a say in it. You said we're up to 4 or 5 now that they've asked for stock assessments on as far as certain species.
Right. It's been used directly in 5 stock assessments, and they just requested our data for snook for next year's stock assessment just last week.
Yeah. And
So-
and it's not, you're not associated with any, I won't name any names of organizations, or you're not looking to shut down fishing. If it makes sense, you know, you're gonna actually bump up the bag limits, you know, decrease the size where it makes sense, you know.
Right.
Without getting too long, because we could talk about it for days, you know, you've provided a tremendous amount of information for the red snapper fishery. You know,
Right.
and it's helping get some more information out there, you know, just those different things. So a lot of people might get to think, wow, they're going to try and take fishing away from us.
Right.
And that's not it at all. I mean, it's very conservation based, but where it makes sense. You know, if, you know, oh, we need more fish taken out, you know, there's too many of this size.
Right.
You know, this is our assessment, this is what we think. You know,
Right.
you're not offering, well, I won't speak for you, but you're not really making recommendations. It's more like, here's your information, put this in your algorithm state, you know, consider this. Don't just use, you know, one data from here or there.
You're exactly right.
Right.
Yeah, and that's, you know, we can't give opinions
Right.
because we have access to raw data. So
Okay,
we want to
gotcha.
make sure
Right.
that all we're doing is they say they want it, we give it to them.
Yep.
Now, we do have a bias. We do
Mhm.
believe that access is a strong component of conservation. If there's not people able to go out and go fishing,
Right.
then you lose your eyes and ears on the water.
Right.
And we think that's a very valuable component of
Yeah.
good conservation. So when there's a desire for fishermen to access a fishery,
Mhm.
and the science says that it can handle it,
Right.
then we're all about making sure we have access.
Right.
And you mentioned red snapper. You know, obviously that's a very contentious fishery, and on the East Coast, last year we were given 2 3-day weekends. And our iAngler data, we did an app with the South Atlantic Council called My Fish Count, and that's an iAngler app as well. That data was used to see how many people had to cancel their trips because of bad weather.
Right.
And for the first time, they used recreational data information to
Mhm.
tack more days on. We got 3 more fishing days.
Yeah.
Totally because of the data that came in
Exactly.
from iAngler. So
Yeah.
it won't always go that way, because
Right,
we get more
absolutely.
access.
Yep.
But it'll give us improved access,
Yeah.
you know, to what it should be, to make sure that
Exactly.
we're catching the right amounts, and then our kids get to catch the right amounts, and
Yeah.
their kids as well.
For sure. Brett, I appreciate it. Thank you for your
very
time.
much.
Always
Yeah.
good to talk to you.
Good to see you.
Yeah.